Now it's recording.
Okay. So I'll make sure. I forgot to bring my stand, the kickstand for the. But I gotta hold it manually, or like just do like what you do, just try and balance it vertically. Yeah. So welcome to the Monkey Bar. It's been a while since our last recording. I think we skipped the last week for this session. I was actually editing like one of the episodes that we recorded like a month ago. It's the comic one.
Oh, yeah.
So this might be the one that airs directly after that. So there's going to be a time gap. And plus there's some other stuff that we have on the back burner, that like the Yu Yu Hakusho one.
Oh, yeah.
That one, I want to do some full animation for, so that might be a while before that one comes. But anyway, let's get started with this show.
Real quick, I have to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a dog. His name's Henry. He's a boxer Aussie mix. He found out he can kill things. So he killed a bird, a squirrel, and a chipmunk.
Is that the same one that killed the deer?
No, that's one of the neighbor's dogs.
Oh, okay.
Henry's a good boy. Well, our neighbor, he's a redneck guy. His first name is Dennis. He saw a cat in his property and he has chickens, so he shot the cat. Cat dragged herself over to our place and died. We didn't know about it for a couple days. And you know that heat wave we just had? Popped like a balloon.
Ugh.
Ask me how I found out. I went out to bring him in and I see this horrifying mummified corpse on the table. Or not thinking over the porch, and I go, what the hell? And I see it's a cat. So I asked my grandfather, who's got some, right? I said, hey, can you put it in the bag? When my mom had to go somewhere, so we'd take it with us. Well, we forgot about the bag. My fault, but he didn't tell me where he put it. A couple days passed. Oh yeah, throw this bag out to the dumpster when you leave. So I picked this bag up. And you know how you have to kind of open, you know how you peek in the bag, see what's in there? It's horrifying. These have been 4 dead animals sitting in there for a couple days, and we had to take it out to the dumpster. The closest dumpster is the hospital in town. So you know how far away that is. So we're driving there, we're speeding, we have a window down, we're coughing, I had to have the window. And I'm about to throw it in when the maintenance guy from the hospital walks over and sees me with a suspicious bag. And all I have to say is puppy and animals, and you know. Well, no, it's my dog killed animals, not a puppy animal. There's a whole other meaning. So I got to smell what a rotten body looks like.
Well, speaking of disgusting subjects that make you want to vomit, I see you have some notes on such a subject.
Yeah, I might save those to the end because I want to end the thing.
Right.
What's your call?
Well, I mean, we can start talking about, because you were going to talk about some lol cow or whatever, some guy. We were discussing, like, subjects to bring up. I don't really like talking about lol cows that much.
Fine.
It's sort of a depressing subject in this day and age.
I'll just give you a setup. So he's a big fat piece of shit who realized, I'm 500 pounds, what do I do? He said, and I think the person summed it up, this isn't what he said, but something psychosis, well, 2 wheels off the cliff or speed up. He's currently past 700 pounds. Here's the quick notes on him. He eats 4,000 plus calories a meal. He likes being fed, that's what he digs. He likes being called names. Anyways, why I bring this up is I've always been struggling with weight. And this guy is it's weird, it's my weakness. And he's making his whole persona. That's not how I meant to say. He exemplifies what I hate most in myself. But the other thing is, he's like a superior lol cow. No weapon can pierce his hide.
Did you hear about him through the internet or through TV?
Internet. He was on that show.
Because the first thing I thought
why?
was...
He'd be whacking off on the show.
Oh, yeah. But, like, it made me think about how, like, those reality shows and the internet are sort of bleeding together now. Because, like, I think also of PewDiePie has been, like, talking about Dr. Phil for some reason. He's been, like, commenting on episodes of Dr. Phil because there's some, Instagram thoughts, like, showing up on there.
I think that when people do that, they want to never cast me outside.
Yeah, it's about what's trending.
Yeah.
It's it's really
like these people make me hate myself because I hate sharing the earth with these people. You know.
Yeah. It's you gotta push them somewhere else, as they say in SpongeBob.
Oh, the last one, there's a guy who made his own computer for talking to God. It's his own.
Oh, I know about him.
You're lost, so.
Yeah. The guy who. I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about.
He says the N-word to describe everybody.
He's saying like glow-in-the-dark CIA.
Yeah. He's kind of one of my favorite lolcows because he's a happy lolcow.
I wouldn't describe him.
Okay, not happy. He's happier than this fat piece of crap.
Like he's a lolcow with a goal, but I guess you could say the same thing about Chris Chan at one point, or that's kind of what it used to be. Now it's
he's not just meandering. We need to get him back in motion.
Yeah. Like speaking of lolcows with a goal. Well, I mean, he's not really a lolcow, but I was like,
sort of pathetic.
Well, I was discussing this. I brought this guy up with you because the mysterious Mr. Enter is, for those of you not familiar with him, he's a cartoon reviewer. So we're already off on the wrong foot. But yeah, he's been in a cartoon reviewer for a while. Really not very good at it, in my opinion. There are people who have better formats, better editing skills, and a couple of years ago, he was reviewing this one, like it was this anthology of shorts, sort of like a What a Cartoon, but for Disney, I think it was Disney.
I remember that.
But like, yeah, and he said, it was like he got to a short where it's like adults take on the roles of kids and vice versa. So like he came up with the idea of like an improved quote unquote version of that, and called Growing Around. And it's a show that he's pitching. Like he doesn't really seem to know how like the industry works, despite commenting on like how cartoons should be made. He really hasn't put much thought into it, but it's
got a personal kind of relationship with this guy. He used to be one of my favorite YouTubers.
Yeah, I mean, I used to respect him to a degree too. Yeah,
because I like listening to videos of like words top 10 when I was younger.
He's always just had like terrible equipment too. Like his microphones, like for a while, like it sounded like he was just like talking into a tin can like that. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's prepared for the big leagues, for actually producing a cartoon. Like actually, like he put out like a novelization of like one of the episodes of this show, and you can tell he's not a good writer either. I mean, I feel bad for him because he really seems passionate about this. It's just that he doesn't seem patient, or like
it's sort of like he wants to do it, he doesn't want to know how to do it.
Yeah, he wants to there's a phrase that I came across when researching this, is that there's a difference between wanting to make your dream project and wanting to produce your dream project. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but like the idea of like putting it
between wanting to do something and sort of like producing something, or not,
or like managing something.
Managing, that's the word.
Yeah, he wants to make his dream come true, but not like, I don't know.
He wants his vision, but he wants someone else to do most of the work for him.
That's what it sounds like. Another thing is that, like, I think even one of his editors, like one of the people on the project, commented on their personal Twitter saying, no, he really hasn't put much thought into it. He's he's asking for $350,000 for this project, and
that sounds all very, very small to me.
Yeah, but like he's only raised like $8,000 so far, and there's like 24 days left in this campaign. He's not going to hit the goal. I mean, if he does, like, I'm willing to say right now that if he manages to reach that goal by the end of the deadline, then I will personally donate $1,000 of my own money, because
I ain't got $1,000, but I will quite happily donate $50.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would probably donate $10,000. I don't have that much money, but that's how little faith I have in his project, and that's very, very sad.
Because we just said it's going to happen now, like some rich entrepreneur from Nigeria is going to look, oh, that looks like a good idea.
I mean, that's why I said $1,000, because, like, I do have some faith that he'll hit the goal, but I really don't think. I'm really not optimistic.
Yeah, like, there's a couple of YouTubers, I consider them to be similar beasts.
Well, I first think about Chris O'Neill, Oni, and like Psychic Pebbles when they first pitched Hellbenders to Adult Swim. And Hellbenders is actually really funny. They have like a knack for comedic. Have you ever seen any of the episodes?
They actually got it on there?
They released a like an episode long animatic. Well, they didn't release it. It was leaked. But there's several There's a couple of shorts of their characters.
I'm not familiar with Oni that much.
Oh, he's really funny. He's like part of the old Newgrounds crew.
Oh, I already respect him.
Yeah. A lot of their stuff is really good.
Hey, I can't remember. Tom something.
Tom Fulp.
What's he been doing?
He's mostly acted as the producer of. He's the site manager, so he's mostly been in the business end of things.
He used to do a couple games, right? The Pixel.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the old Newgrounds, and now it's just poorly animated dicks.
Uh-huh. Well, there was actually on Oni Plays, they were going through the old stuff right from the beginning.
Like the purple guy with the chainsaw?
I think that might have been in there. But like really, really like crude Flash animated games.
I love that old Flash.
Yeah.
You know, like when I call it Dino Flash.
I used to hate it, but when it was first being released like that. But now I sort of have like a respect for it for like a vintage cringe.
Like my favorite Flash thing ever done. Ever heard of Zombie with an X?
Sounds familiar.
It's a zombie who is conscious he's a zombie, so he helps the little girl get back to her family along with a mummy, and they have a wolf and they have a velociraptor that is also a zombie, and they fight aliens. Fucking best thing I ever seen from Newgrounds.
Yeah, see, like you first started going to Newgrounds, like what year would you say?
2010s.
Okay, because I was with them, or like I first started watching their stuff in
around 2010s, or maybe earlier.
Yeah, I first started in like the early 2000s, so it was like right at the beginning. And because I remember it was like must have been like 2002. I remember it was 2002 because there were like it was saturated with Osama bin Laden Flash games where you like beat up Osama bin Laden, kill him and stuff. Or like there was a dress up game where you like take off his shirt and he has like boobs and like you click on him and it lactates. It's like the weirdest stuff.
Random fact: there is a species of bat in Malaysia that is a male that lactates.
Ah, okay.
Random fact I learned today.
All right. I remember there was a really like one game that I remember in particular off of Newgrounds was this game where you play as an orderly in a retirement home. It's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and you beat up old people and kill them. And like it was called Disorderly. And like I've been meaning to go back to Newgrounds and see if that's still up there.
Do you know what game I remember? Remember the game where the school shooter parody one?
Yeah.
With the redhead guy. They made a dating sim off that game.
What was it called?
Pick something? Pixel?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I'm mentioning.
I mean, the first thing I think of when I hear that school shooter game is Super Columbine Massacre RPG. But I don't think that was on Newgrounds. I remember downloading it and think it was like because it was an RPG Maker game about like the Columbine shooting and like
you know the guys who made RPG Maker have to live with their consequences.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think of if they could. They thought that they should.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's like just like any other software.
Yeah.
Like you can make I actually saw that you can make there's like a graph software and like just by putting in math equations you can like draw like anime characters with it. It's like I mean it's a neat way to teach kids math and
it is
graphing skills.
How to draw waifu. Yeah. Oh man. Well, last thing I'll say about Newgrounds real quick. My favorite memory of that dating sim game was the really, really hot punk goth girl. God, that's probably why I like Raven so much.
Goth girls, yeah. Did you get that reference?
Sort of.
It's a Pan Pizza reference. He actually just released a video. He's back to making videos, and he released one about Rocco's Modern Life, and it's a real testament to Rocco's Modern Life. And it's a real testament to how well it's aged. That so much of the humor is based in around '90s culture, but so much of the humor is still like as sharp as it was today.
Like, it was sort of like a more subdued Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, like it was more grounded in reality, while at the same time exaggerating elements of reality to cartoonish degrees. Like there's an episode just about Rocco getting a new credit card and overcharging it and getting into debt, and the repo men like taking all this stuff.
Repo Man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's my favorite movie.
I still gotta watch it. Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah, because it's weird. I watch it and it's like it's a really subpar film. And then a week later, if I ever hear someone say "I remember," I go "I remember." Man, I miss Newgrounds. Battlegrounds back in the day.
Hmm.
Back before we started having all those 3D games on there and the advertisements for MMORPGs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember another thing. I was mentioning how I consider there's groups on YouTube. It's sort of like an ecosystem. I'm going to compare it to the Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Our Lions are the PewDiePies, the Markipliers, maybe the Fortnite streamers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the weaker ones, the hyenas who steal their kills. Markiplier plays Spooky Bear Simulator, we gotta play it now.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the crocodiles who snatch people away, and slowly you go down and down until you hit the enters, who are the jackals, who get eaten by the hawks.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about the extinct species last night, the ranting community.
Oh.
Remember those guys?
So you know Devil May Cry, the DMC reboot?
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching a video, like, I remember typing into YouTube, I don't like DMC, and there was a video titled exactly that. And when do you think DMC came out? Like, 20...
That was 2013?
So I was 14, I go, oh my god, and I clicked on the link. Picture a fat, sweaty, ginger neckbeard, shirt off, sitting down, and there's this black guy sitting next to him who, on recollection, looked very uncomfortable. And so he goes, hand me them, Devil May Cry. Look. And he holds out the phone, Devil May Cry. And he looks at the second one, sets it down quietly, Devil May Cry 3, 4. And he says, what do these have in common? And I remember being terrified, because every time he moved his wrists, his moves jiggled. And whenever I play Devil May Cry the reboot, all I can picture is a fat ginger sweaty guy. Thank you, Ninja Fury.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many of the guys who were, like, you probably don't remember most of these names, like PM Rants, Archfiend.
I remember Archfiend's name.
Yeah, he, like a lot of them, like, aside from, I think Repzion is still making videos. I mean, I don't bother to keep up with him anymore.
Yeah, they got slaughtered.
The only one that I can think of that I look forward to hearing from, I don't think I hear from that much, is Alpha Omega Sin.
Actually, I listened to one ranter guy. A Dose of Buckley.
I'm iffy about him.
Is there a reason why?
Well, I think it's just that he had like a really abrasive attitude, and just like he just seemed like an unpleasant person to listen to.
But
he's kind of like Mr. Medicare, but without the enough sarcasm to like he seemed to like just take everything so seriously.
He does.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I listen to him because there is a level of venom in his tone.
Yeah.
I don't like him, but I like listening to him. Does it make sense at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I used to write my bad guys, my stories, I used to listen to him rant on like old music. Like he likes a really shitty 2000 rock. Man, ranters are kind of dead actually. You know, the more and more I think about it, like they went the way of a white rhinoceros.
Yeah, nowadays it's more about actual critiques, like Super Eye Patch Wolf is the one I keep bringing up.
It also has a sort of cringe culture thing now. Compilation videos.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, compilation videos like my favorite kind is remember Vine issue 658. It's the same 400 videos.
I mean, you'd think they'd have run out of Vine videos by now.
They have, but they just keep showing the same ones over and over.
Oh.
I've seen that baby covered in peanut more times than I care to admit. I used to watch Vines when I went to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube's really changed.
It has.
I'm not sure if I like its change, because around the 2010s when I really got into YouTube, because that's when it came out. I was there in 2008, but in the 10s it started swinging, in my opinion, you know? It started developing an identity. He was a cool guy who he used to party with. And then the apocalypse happened, or around then. And then he came back, and he's not the same. He came back from the war. He's shaken. He's telling you about the Vietnamese bombers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a good video series that I would recommend watching is Quentin Reviews put out a series called Fallen Titans. And it covers like what we were talking about with the extinct YouTubers like Fred, Smosh, like a lot of the big names that were big then and just sort of faded away.
Did you hear about the Smosh gay rumor?
The what?
It's in our school leagues. There was a rumor in my class that Smosh was actually gay, but they used their money for making it to make gay porn. That's why they keep making gay porn jokes. Like,
yeah, like it would have been. I mean, that's it's interesting how different the rumors were back then versus how they are now.
Like now, it's like he's heterosexual. He likes Trump.
Or like he's a Nazi.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, he's a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Like my uncle has some serious fascist views.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I kind of like looking back on like the old kind of rumors we had. Because there were funny ones like they used in my class. They used the rumor that I was from like the Ukraine because of my accent. I don't have an accent. I have a lisp.
Huh.
Oh man, you already remember most of Mr. Enter. He had kind of a weak stomach.
Yeah, that's one thing that he always complains about is gross out humor.
Well, I can understand a bit of that, but like, okay, that's fun. Episode from SpongeBob. Kinda.
Oh, the Splinter.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't like that episode, but like there's others that are okay, I think.
Well, what's interesting, and Pan actually brought this up in the Rocko's Modern Life review, was that kids seem to respond more positively to gross out humor, while adults find more like unpleasant and juvenile. Yeah, which I found interesting because I think that when I was a kid, I was really into Ren and Stimpy, which is probably the grossest of gross out humor.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, I haven't gone back and rewatched Ren and Stimpy in a while, but
have you ever watched that Cans Without Labels cartoon?
Sounds familiar.
John K. had a Kickstarter and he got it through, and
oh yeah,
nothing. The animatics outline. It's the first half is mostly finished, and then it starts cutting, and then slowly the characters stop moving. The backgrounds become 3D rendered, then they become uncolored, no shading, and then they become like posted sketches. And I'm starting to think John K. worked best when there was a censor. He I'm sorry, John K. rant. If he could see the bar, he knew how high to jump.
Yeah.
Without that bar, he's shooting for the moon and landing in Uranus.
Yeah. It reminds me of post note stuff. That reminds me of there's like an episode of Gumball, like Amazing World of Gumball, where they kind of like it was like the show was running out of money and they had to like cash a check to keep the production going, and like while they're like racing to the bank, like the animation is slowly getting worse and worse.
I like stuff like that. Like I like it when the show gets meta and that kind of way.
Yeah, like there's also an episode of Chowder where
I was thinking that. Where
they actually cuts the voice actors like in the room, and they're like, "Well, we gotta raise money to do it," like, and they go, "I'll go like car wash, yeah." And I like stuff like that.
You know, and there's that Looney Tunes episode where they have a pencil come in.
Oh yeah, that's a classic, Duck Amuck.
You know Doug Walker put me on these areas. I love the Goofy cartoons. You know, Goofy is one of my favorite Disney characters. On a random note, Kingdom Hearts should have been created by CD Projekt Red.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you picture that like? I just killed that man and I cut him over with my guillotine. Yeah. Oh, he lost his throat. There's this video. It's called Prostitute Mickey, and it's Mickey Mouse in it's sad funny, because there's like this part where it's revealed that Mickey Mouse is now a prostitute because they went to 3D animation to Disney, and there's like this part where this guy pulls up and he goes, "Hey Mickey, how you doing?" And Mickey's like, "Oh hi," I can't remember the character's name. Like, "So what's the special? $10 for a Fantasia, $15 for a Steamboat Willie." And that is my favorite line out of context of any YouTube cartoon.
Speaking of the current Disney animation, Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet.
It should be called Ralph Breaks the Shark. Because he's trying to jump it and he hits the shark and the shark is fighting him.
Yeah, because we've both seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that in like one of the other episodes?
I think we discussed a little bit.
Yeah, but it looks like a higher quality version of the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
Which is not saying much at all.
Because emoji had a high budget.
Yeah, well, the thing is...
But it also looked shitty. It looked 2008.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the one thing, is that when they... Like, I was with the trailer up until the part where they go to the internet, and then they show the fucking Google building and the Twitter building, and I'm like, there's...
Do you know how Davis is going to be in 70 years when there's no longer Google? It's been bought out by, Googleplexian, which is a new company. And when Twitter shuts down, Vine, remember the Kanye tweets?
Yeah, I mean, Disney's going to own the world in, 80 years, so...
The year is 2100. Disney now owns most of the world, and they send the guy back in time. And the Terminators are all Disney animatronics.
Weren't we talking about, or other Zach was saying, how there's going to be, Disney hit squads, like the new Mouseketeers.
And I set up a joke where they have voice modulators to, the characters.
Yeah. Time to go. Let's knock their lights out.
And, that'd be an interesting horror movie. Oh, wait, no, that's Friday Night at Freddy's, but they're assassins.
Wasn't there there was a movie called Escape from Tomorrow, which is Tomorrow. No, it was Escape from Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it was all shot on location at Disney. Gorilla filmed, too, because they didn't get permission.
And I heard that, Disney shit themselves when they saw it.
Well, no, I heard that they deliberately decided not to interfere, like, legally.
Yeah, but, from what I heard, they didn't like it at all.
Yeah. But the same thing with Banksy doing his Dismal Land project. And, there was, his dark take on Disney, and, it was just this... Disney decided just to not interfere at all, and it of course went under as foreseen. So Disney at least has the foresight to know when to just, I guess,
let it go.
Yeah.
But I didn't even mean that one. I just said it. It's we're so ingrained at this point.
And you just realize that right as it's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, and that's why I started laughing. The thought police are real. We're gonna turn around and we're gonna pull over a shelf, and there's just gonna be a Mickey Mouse robot there. That's why we have ears, to collect our thoughts.
Yeah, they just beam advertisements into your brain now.
Speaking of that, have you heard about the new Marvel TV show?
Defenders?
Yeah, I heard it's okay actually.
I actually found out that the Jessica Jones, the lead actress for that, I found out because I was watching Breaking Bad, and Jesse's girlfriend in season 2, Jane, that's actually the same actress. So I thought, I was watching Breaking Bad, I'm like, this woman looks familiar.
Yeah, my favorite one is who plays Luke Cage?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I like Luke. He's my favorite Netflix show. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. There is not many characters who can look Thanos in the eye and go, "Sweet Christmas," and not sound shitty. Oh man. Do you know what I think would be kind of interesting as a YouTube project? Make sort of a movie that's a satire of the extinct YouTube days. What you do is make it it's free 20-minute vignettes on the 3 different eras of YouTube. But you don't call it YouTube, you call it movie play or whatever. And you show the degradation of a cipher there, this sort of entropy that's spread.
That'd be interesting. One thing I was thinking about was Watchmen, and how the movie wasn't that, I thought the movie was okay, but a lot of people didn't really like the movie. I think the problem was that they stayed too close to the source material. I think that if I would have waited after the Avengers came out and do sort of a deconstruction of superhero movies through Watchmen.
Dude.
Or you could still do that now, come up with a Watchmen of superhero movies, an original movie that's about a bunch of superheroes getting together, but formed under this big conglomerate who is just micromanaging every aspect of their lives.
That's actually, they kind of beat you to that. Incredibles 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but I would like to see another take on that.
I mean, that gives me another reason to go see it.
Yeah. Also, my favorite thing was Shadman. He ruined it. Because I'm watching, it follows mostly Elastigirl, you've seen from the trailers. I'm watching it. And my hands keep drifting down no, what, because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Well, I like how I think it was like an article by like one of these terrible SJW sites like Vox or Mary Sue, where they're like the headline is, okay, everybody should stop. Like, don't look at Elastigirl's butt in the movie, and then Shadman replies to them. He's like, it's hard to do that when that's 80% of the movie.
Yeah, no, I'm picturing now. It's Indiana Jones and all the SPWs are behind the tree. No, look at her ass.
Only instead of your face melting, you get a boner.
But blood circulation.
Yeah, it like drains out of your face and it all goes to your cock.
Aren't we just the most clever people?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Oh god. You know what I would like to see as a deconstruction superheroes? Do the Avengers, alright? Call him like Bulko. And their big Hulk guy throws a bus full of children at a big robot. And everything else is a result of him throwing a bus full of school children at a robot.
Wasn't that the plot of Civil War?
Oh, fuck yeah. Well, no, Civil War is an accident because they were on train.
Right.
This is where the guy just threw a bus full of children.
I would like to see. So I was also thinking about the state of comics again. Because actually, when I was editing the last episode, when we were talking about the comics industry now, excuse me, like how there are still some superheroes I would like to see make a comeback.
Any examples?
Well, one thing I thought of was like I was watching a podcast about like these two independent superhero comics that were funded through Kickstarter. It was Patriotica and Alt Hero, both of which are like they're sort of promoted to the alt-right, but says like sort of the anti-SJW superhero in comics. So is like both comics are about like these beautiful blonde, big-titted superheroines and posing in objectified poses. And like the problem is that like you can have all that, but if you write it shittily, then it's not gonna be.
Shit.
Yeah, and like
you can make a turd out of gold. It's still a turd.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to recapture the '90s aesthetic, which. I mean,
even the '90s couldn't really
get
the '90s aesthetic.
That's the thing that not a lot of people remember when they're talking about like, oh, the '90s comics are so great. No, they weren't. That was the era of Liefeld at his height, just shitting out like a dozen superhero teams every day.
I just love how you said that because all I'm picturing is Rob Liefeld, an anime character, and it says 1989, and the clock strikes 12. His hand's going to this isn't even my final game.
Have you seen that? There's a video on YouTube, Rob Liefeld. It might be from his official account, but it's him inking while driving. And it's literally just that. He's like driving and he has like an artboard in his lap. And it's just dumb. Like everybody, like even the comments were like, fuck you, Rob.
So didn't he give a really shitty Captain America cover?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. My all-time favorite comic cover.
I saw like a fan art of My Hero Academia with All Might in that same design. And it's just perfect.
You know what I want to see actually? I want to see like a Captain America movie, and there's like a scene where they see like these old '40s pictures of him, and it's just him like that, and he goes, "Who the fuck did this?" I'd like to see a super movie where Captain America's always been that spirit of virtue, and I'm so sorry, deaf people now.
That was my fault. I kicked it.
But you know how like they have like Captain America's like he's the straight edge. Like have him have a mental breakdown. Like, hey, where is Captain America? And he's got like drunk at a strip club. No handcuffs can hold me.
No, Hydra brainwashed me. So,
Dumb question. Can you imagine if Captain America was literally taken from how he was in the 30s?
That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, and like, you know, the subtle ideas of how to bring up racism, misogyny.
I think that Garth Ennis did something like that. The Boys is probably what I'm thinking of. I didn't read that. I haven't read it, though, but that was sort of like a rebuttal to American superhero comics at the time in the 90s. But one thing I wanted to like speaking of superhero comics, I wanted to ask if you could reboot any superhero with a comic line, which superhero would you choose?
Could I pick 3 choices, one for Marvel, one for DC?
Sure.
Do you know who Ambush Bug is?
Yeah.
I would do an Ambush Bug one, where it's him, and the whole comic is him very subtly trying to take attention away from a distinct competition character, like, you know, yeah, he wears red. do it like that, but you could also make it like almost like a joke on how they do comedy superheroes nowadays. Have to be well written. For Marvel, I would probably okay. Marvel's had a lot of. Does it count if they had like a one-off series?
Yeah.
Doc Ock.
Okay.
He had one of the best Spider-Man comics ever run. It was his origin. But they did it like at the time it was set, so you know it's like 40s technology. And they actually made him a very compelling character. They gave him an almost Oedipus complex that he gave away everything so that he could build these arms and support his mom, and his mom turned away from him, so he killed her. Spoiler, sorry. And then now he's gone insane with the idea of cybernetics, and he goes loose. And for Image, Spawn. Set Spawn like, you know, Spawn is a character that has always worked for me. Because he is weaponized edge. Him and Sonic or Shadow will have a fight, and it will end with Spawn standing there, pulling Shadow's arms open, going, "Look me in the eye." There's this game called Spawn Armageddon. It was the first game I ever beat 100% on the hardest difficulty. And I remember the opening is like, "I am Spawn," and he goes on this deep, edgy. The edge is so powerful. Because I like good edge. It was good. Emos are cutting themselves to the theme song. Who would you pick?
I would pick, for DC, I would pick Superboy.
Oh, that's a... Which one? Psychic or...
Like, I wanted to go back to the roots with the psychic stuff. So he would be... It would be like a sort of new origin for him, and be like... it would actually... I don't know, I'm thinking like something more like Supergirl, where he's like from a different colony, and like... so like, he... like... has like different DNA that gives him the telekinesis.
You know what I would do? I would make them like there are species that also evolved on Krypton, but they have like a sort of like antagonistic relationship with the other Kryptonians.
Yeah, like I would like to see him as more of an anti-hero and like do stuff that Superman wouldn't do.
And if Superman was like, "Boy!"
Yeah, boy.
You cannot tell me Superman just doesn't slap around the other superheroes that are not looking. There is no way he hasn't slapped Batman in the face and fractured his jaw.
Yeah, he's like, they're like 50 feet apart, and he's just like, goes there in like less than a second. He's like, "What? What are you looking at me for?"
Oh, him and the Flash have like slapping contests?
Yeah. For Marvel, I would choose...
Choose wisely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like some of my favorite Marvel characters. Or like maybe like characters that haven't really gotten the spotlight in a while. Namor.
Oh my god, you've chosen wisely.
Yeah.
Namor has always been a favorite superhero of mine. I just don't know why.
Well, I mean, he's Aquaman, but he can fly.
And he doesn't need to wear that stupid orange outfit. He's basically in spandex underwear for most of the comics I read.
You said there was a reason that he's not in the movies, right?
Because Universal owns his rights and they're not selling him.
Right, yeah.
I would love to have him, Hulk, and Loki team up like they did in the Avengers. But one of them's dead. One of them, like, have him go, "Hulk, remember who you are." I did a Reaper reference again.
Didn't you say that there was like a reference like to Namor somewhere in the movies?
In Iron Man 2 is when they're setting up the Avengers, right? You can see a list, and they show Hulk's in New Mexico, Captain America's in Antarctica. They show these superheroes, and there's one in the middle of the ocean. And it says NMR.
So it's only a matter of time now.
Yeah, it'd be funny if, like, at the end of Infinity War, like, or, you know, in Ant-Man Wasp, whatever, he just walks out and goes, "I am here to fight Ultra." Where the hell is everybody? I have to fly here, but I have to follow commercial. Do you think Iron Man gets a ticket if he, like, hits a plane or something?
Like, he probably writes it off.
Can you imagine, like, the Air Force stop him, like, you know, and just flag him down? Do you know how fast you're going on no-fly zone? No, I changed my Marvel answer. I'd like to see, like, a comic all about the Sinister Six teaming up. Just give a comic of how they grouped up. Anyways, what's your pick for Independent?
That's a good question, because I'm not as familiar with independent comics. Like, the ones that I'm most familiar with are the ones that are fine the way they are right now. Invincible, I love. I can't imagine rebooting that. Oh, that would be interesting.
That'd actually be good, like Lovecraftian horror and shit like that. I would actually read the hell out of that.
I would actually say Scott Pilgrim. And that's a tough decision because...
Would you go modern video game aesthetic for a reboot?
Well, I would say just, like, go crazy with anything, I would say.
The final issue is entirely done in, like, Atari graphics.
Yeah, like, it doesn't really have... I don't think that the video game references are important as building a cohesive world. Because that's the one thing that I've always... had a problem with Scott Pilgrim, is that it's very character centric, with most of the world building just completely in the background, and like it's only brought up just to advance the plots without having a solid foundation.
That's something that I always am picky about, is world building. I am no longer allowed in the Zelda Discord. Because I said, isn't it kind of weird how the Sheikah had these robots and flight and cameras? And wouldn't it be cool if they just mass produced it? So, and I brought this up, and the other person did. Well, they're greedy. And go, fuck! There's 500 Sheikah, and there's 10,000 Hyruleans and Gorons and Zora. You can have tanks. You're not going to win that war.
Game theory are the Sheikahs actually Jews?
I'm the picture. Oh my god, just before or you have a Sheik outfit and Breath of the Wild, it's just a giant point to it. Oh. I really like the Sheik outfit. It's my favorite in the game.
I've always actually really liked the Sheik in general since Ocarina of Time. Yeah.
You know what I would like is that you know the Yiga clan. I love their aesthetic. I want a Yiga clan outfit for Link, and if you wear it, because I hate the hideout, what I hate is how you can do the shield thing with the Guardians. Mm-hmm. Every time I fucking do it, there's a Yiga archer or if I do it in this one area, there's a single bokoblin on a horse, and that bastard knows how to flank me at every second I hate him. I've been playing a lot of Zelda recently.
Yeah, this is a good game.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I would say that.
Mario Odyssey's not far behind.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Mario Odyssey. I would say it's in my top 3 Mario games of all time.
Oh, actually, yeah. Luigi's Mansion, Odyssey, and then Sunshine. You
would rank Luigi's Mansion that high?
It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's just, when I played it, my sister tried to get me to play Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. You know how that's going to go, because it came out in 2001, Luigi's Mansion did, around there. So I was about 4 when I actually started playing the game seriously, 4 or 5, and I remember being so creeped out. And then slowly I just kept going back to it because I was scared. When I was scared at night, I'd play it. And slowly I started to master my fear. And now when I see those ghosts, I go, holy shit, I want one of the ghosts in Smash Brothers. Because there's this ghost who did the piano, there's a fandom just for Luigi's Mansion. Did you know that?
I'm not surprised.
And they have this fetish for this piano ghost. Because she's a nerd who plays Nintendo music, and you have to guess the song.
Yes.
Nintendo fans can be weird.
Yeah, I mean...
I've been on a few of them, and you know how a couple chats have a not safe for work art thing? Mm-hmm. Well, someone's spank bank is entirely inflation pictures of Mario enemies. And it's kind of creepy because the person, with people who are going on Discord, they type so fast, doesn't say they're talking, so it just pops up. They kind of ninja in there.
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of Daisy fan art now that Tennis Aces is out.
Good pick. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, you had the best not safe for work fan thing. I'm in a paleo art community, and they do dinosaur art. It's not dinosaur porn, but it's porn of cave women, and they just paint a T-Rex in the background. And finally, someone shows the reproductive image of a velociraptor, so this cloaca. Someone's finally drawn Velociraptor Hooch. Yeah. And I'm like, that's fucking disgusting, but I have to applaud the guy who did research, because apparently it matches birds and reptiles. Yeah.
It reminds me of, because I was actually editing that episode today, we were talking about the DeviantArt page, the guy who drew the dinosaurs with titties. But I was thinking about the Elfin Orc comic, because recently a different comic was brought to my attention of is sort of the opposites, where it's a bunch of orc women who are these sort of the gal types.
Yeah.
Or like the tan with the big lips.
Yeah.
And like it's the opposite in that there's you have the orc women seducing like this really ugly guy who like is really handsome by orc standards.
I kind of want to read that now.
I mean, it's more adult.
I have a D&D story for that. We were playing D&D, and my character was a dwarf who would like to take his shirt off and yell at people. Mm-hmm. I actually had to say, "Matt Gaines, bro," whenever he drank a potion. It was me shitposting as a character. And we were attacked by a bunch of Yeti. So he rips his shirt off, and one says, "Are you a Yeti?" And I go, "Well, yes, I am, missus." And that's how we ended up married to a Yeti. That is possibly the most disturbing thing I've ever done. Because when I played D&D, I found something out. Have you ever played Dungeons & Dragons extensively?
No.
It plays like Aliens. You all start out big and badass, and then the monsters start coming, and then it's game over, man. Like, it's amazing how quick it takes to break somebody. By the way, you know my favorite thing is? When you're playing with a guy, and he's like, you know the wizard, like, the skadoodle noodle, six noodle? Did you know that's actually based on a somewhat 4chan thing?
I'm not surprised.
That where this guy put all this fetishes into a D&D game, and they call it Escape My Magical World. And it became a urine fetish in like 10 minutes.
I think we're
getting into... divergent.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. What's your least favorite Enter video?
Least favorite... probably like his Drawn Together video, which was his 100th episode special. That's the only. I think that's the only Enter episode that I like legitimately could not finish.
Oh yeah. Do you like Drawn Together?
No, not really.
No, I like what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
But it needed a better writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're kind of just the stamina bar is empty, Link's panting.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Real quick, I just want to say this. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the last Jedi of Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear everybody hates it.
That's the thing. The people who hate it haven't read the book. Or read the book recently.
I mean, does it really matter? Because people who love the original Jurassic Park are the people who are complaining the most.
I would say it's because the second movie is the most similar to the books before it. It's sort of worth like this. You can tell Spielberg worked on it. You can tell Crichton worked on it. You can tell it had nothing to do with the others because it's a fucking piece of shit movie. You can tell that Spielberg liked it. You can tell that Crichton would have liked it. And why that's important is Spielberg has this image of making dinosaurs magical, like the fairies and dragons. And then Crichton didn't know a dinosaur from a hole in a wall. And his thing is that he made dinosaurs, like his raptors, there's a scene in the second book that every paleontologist ever has brought up when it came out. Raptors are eating something. One raptor bites the other takes out his throat, third one jumps on top of it, ripping his head open. And do you see what the problem is? If these animals kill each other at the sight of blood, they wouldn't be able to exist as a species. That's what the movie is trying to convey. And by the way, I like the movie. I'm a fight any Jurassic fan. I'm gonna take out my Switch, not the actual Switch like my Switch like you guys play with. I'm gonna fight them. It is kind of funny though, because the people who do like it are like the most. I'm a very diehard Jurassic fan, but I am by no means ride or die Jurassic, because I am willing to say the third movie is a piece of garbage. It's my last thing. The Jurassic fandom, that is like that's your hidden knowledge. Is how you stand on on the third one. Fallen Kingdoms are coming back because the first one got. If you notice, Jurassic World never mentions the third movie because Trevorrow hated it. He's not making it non-canon. He references it at one point. And that point, as they mentioned, the Velociraptors don't have feathers. Only reference in the entire movie. And the reason why is, remember the Spinosaurus? I'm ranting here. Literally, they had to retcon it as a super hybrid. Not only is it a hybrid, it was given super maxed out genes.
Well, Spinosaurus are real though, aren't they?
Yes, but the problem is it was a four-legged creature. Its jaws could only bite about 15 pounds per square inch. Literally, it could only grab a fish and eat it. What they did in the movie was they made it bigger than a T-Rex, wider, longer, taller, and they gave it a bite that you could hear break bone. In real life, Tyrannosaur could break almost 2,000 pounds per square inch with a bite. He gets him by the neck, it's game over. I will say that Fallen Kingdom, the best part of doing a spoiler thing for you. There's a part where there's a bonehead dinosaur called Stiggy Malik, and they throw him in the crowd. That's the best part, because he's only about 2.5 feet tall, and he's bowling the Russian mercenaries. Yeah, I hate Crichton's work. I think he's a hack writer.
Yeah.
He had good concepts. He didn't know what to do with them. Well, I've been Zach.
And I've been Tony, and this has been the Monkey Bar.
Sorry for cutting off.